Okay, today we're going to have a look at some more list tasks, and these tasks are going to be generally associated with removing items, removing elements from lists. So I've got a number of tasks here, 7 tasks. I'm going to start on task 10, and it says remove an item from a list, and this is the first one of these. Okay, so if we read the instructions, it tells us about the keyword remove. Remove will remove a specific entry from a list. In other words, it will remove something when you say, okay, if you have the word green in there, remove green, and it will remove that item. So that's how that does it. Specifically try to find something that exists in there. And we use it using the variable name for the list, which in this case is rainbow, and we do .remove, so that is a function there, and that will remove whatever is in the brackets, provided it exists in the list. Okay, and you can see here an example that's been run through. If you tried to remove something that wasn't in the list, it would crash the program. Okay, so it would crash the program, and it'd bring up that message saying that such and such isn't in the list. Okay, so our task today is add 2 lines of code to remove red and then yellow. The entire list should be printed off after each of those remove functions. So here, I'm just going to open this code up a bit better so we can see it. If I run it now, then it prints out the rainbow list like that, and that's fine. Then I'm going to add code to remove red, so I'll do rainbow dot remove and then red, like so. Then I'm going to just print out the list just to make sure that that has been removed, and I could run that now, and you can see here red has gone from the front. And then here I'm going to add code to remove orange, so rainbow, because that is the name of the list, dot remove orange. So now I just need to print out rainbow. It's really good that you can just print a list by doing that, and I'm going to run that, and you can see here this is the original list, this is a new list with no red, and this is a new list with no orange. So now, and that's the code there, and I'll just submit that, and it's passed the single test. Click submit, and that's the first one of today's tasks done. Now the next thing that we're going to do, task 11, is pop an item from a list, part 1. So another way to remove something from the list is by removing based on an index. Now if you use pop by itself, it will remove the last item. If you use pop with a number, it will remove whatever is at the index. So here in this example, we've got a list of colors called rainbow. We can print rainbow, then we can remove whatever's at position 2, and that's position 0 there, position 1, position 2, so that would remove yellow. Okay, so here the output of this program would be to print out the whole list with yellow, and then after that yellow would be gone. Okay, so this is using pop with a number at the moment, which will remove it from a particular index. Add 2 lines of code to remove the elements at index 3 and then index 0. The entire list should be printed off after each of those pop functions. Okay, so rainbow dot pop 3, and then print rainbow. I'm going to run that, and it should get rid of yellow. Oh sorry, correction, it should get rid of green. Red is 0, orange is 1, yellow is 2, and green is 3, and it has got rid of green. Yeah. So next one I'm going to do, pop the 0th item. So rainbow dot pop 0. Then I'm going to print rainbow, and what it should do there is it should remove whatever is at the 0th position, and that's red. So we should have no red and no green. No red and no green. So that should be done. And let's just have a look at the code again. There's the code. So remember, remove removes an item by actually specifying what the item is. So you would have to say green or red in speech marks. Pop uses the index, uses the position of an item in the list. I'm going to submit that, pass the test, and that's the second of today's tasks done. Okay, now moving on to task 12, pop an item from the list, part 2. And with this example here, what we realise is pop, without a number in it, will always remove the last item. It always removes the item from the end of the list. So, task, add 2 lines of code to remove the last element of the list twice, and then print off. So here, we're going to go rainbow dot pop, just like that, and then print rainbow, so no index specified, and it will remove the last item, and the last item here is violet. If I run that, you can see violet's there, and then it's gone. And that's what pop does when there is no index mentioned. So I'm going to do the next one, which is rainbow.pop, and that will remove indigo. And I'll print rainbow, print out the contents of the list, run that, and yeah, it's gotten rid of indigo. If I kept doing that, eventually you'd end up with an empty list. Okay, and then I'm going to submit that. It's passed the test. And so it says I've completed that assignment. And just to let us have a look at the code there. Now we're going to do one more task with pop. Pop items from a list, part 3. And so let's see what the task does. Add code to do the following. Ask the user for a number between 0 and 7, saying enter a number. Create a loop that will run for the number of times in the step above. Carry out the pop function on the list. Print the list after each pop function. Okay, so now we're going to be popping the last item, and basically we're saying to somebody, how many of these do you want to delete? Okay, so and here there's fewer comments, so I need to put comments in myself. Get user input. I'm going to say num equals int input, enter a number. I must say that prompt doesn't really tell the user what the number is going to be used for. Okay, but I've done that just to make it easier for us. Now I'm going to make a simple for loop for I in range, and then it will be 0, num. So we're going to loop that many times, and all we're going to do is we are going to, in the list is called rainbow, and we're going to do rainbow dot pop, removing the last item, and here we are going to print rainbow to see the effect that that has upon the list. So I'm going to run that. It says here enter a number, and I'm going to have 2, and that way I'm hoping that I remove violet and then I'll remove indigo. So I'll press enter, and it's removed violet and then it's removed indigo, just as I expected. If I run it again, if I do it with 7, then it will eventually remove every single color. It will remove, and when I say remove, it will pop violet, then indigo, then blue, then green, then yellow, then orange, then red, and then we've finished. And that's why we only wanted a maximum of 7 being entered. Okay, so let's have a look at that code there. Here, really, I could put in a few more comments just to make it more sensible, to make people understand it. Click submit. Oh, it's failed. It's got this raise EOF error. When it does that, sometimes I just submit it again and see if it, and there it's worked. Okay, so REPL's not perfect, and that task is complete. Okay, we're now going to look at task 14, which is the second remove an item. So here it says ask for a color. Ask for a color, and then it will test whether the color is in the list. So let's just do this normally. So I'm going to say col equals input, enter a color, because that's what it says in here. Enter a color, and then I'm just going to go rainbow dot remove. Remember, it's remove if you've got the actual item you want to remove. Rainbow remove color, and then I'm going to print out the list. Okay, because we should be printed out if we can remove it. So I'm going to run that, and I'm going to write red, and then red's been removed. I'm going to run it again, and I'm going to type pink, and then it fails, and it has got red text there. So now we are going to try and fix that by using this sort of structure here. Okay, now it says red there, and that is actually in speech marks. Now we're going to be using the variable name col, because somebody might type any sort of color. So, and we're going to use this keyword in. It's really important. And so this virtually tells us exactly how to do it. So here I'm just going to get rid of that stuff, and I'm going to do the test. If col in rainbow, and that is a test, and it will either be true or false. If it's true, that means that the color that you entered is inside the rainbow. Then we can do rainbow dot remove col, and then print out the rainbow. And then we have an else statement, and I did a backspace delete then, and then pressed enter, and you can see it's tapped nicely. Then we just print out the useful message, color not in list. And so here I'm just going to add a couple of extra comments with color in list, remove, and then here error statement, color not in list. Okay, and we put these comments in there because it's important so people can understand what the whole point of the different lines of code are. Going to run that, and here just going to do exactly the same as I did last time. Red, that's fine. Going to run that. Going to type pink, color not in list, and the program hasn't crashed, so that's great. Let's just look at that code again. Really useful using this keyword in with col in rainbow. And then I'm going to submit that, and it's passed all the tests. So that is the second remove task, but here we're using an if statement, an if else statement, and the keyword in. Task 15, using the len function. So len, we're used to len because we can use len with strings. If we use len of this one here, Tony, then it's 4. The length function, when it's being used for a list, tells us how many items or how many elements are in the list. So let's do this task. Task words in the list. Add code to ask for an animal using the prompt enter an animal. Append the word to the list. Get the length of the list. Print the length of the list using there are X animals in the list. So I'm just going to type animal equals input enter an animal I need to put that in speech marks. So append that to the list. Animals dot append. Remember, it's the word append animal. Get the length of the list. I'm going to call it length just now. Equals len, and the list is called animals. And then print out length. If I run that, enter animal, so I'm going to write tiger, and there's 4 animals in the list. There was initially 3. I've just added an extra tiger. So there's 3 animals in the list. I've added 1, and so that should be fine, apart from I need to have there are X animals in the list, so I need to have it like that. So here I'm going to write there are and a space, and then I'm going to change length into a string because it's an integer, so I can concatenate it. There are 4 animals in the list, and so that should be fine, just like that. I need to close the bracket. If I run that again, if I type dog, there are 4 animals in the list. Click submit, it's passed that test. So that's using the len function. Last task for today is populate, and here we're going to write a program that starts with an empty list and populates or fills it with some integers. So the task is declare an empty list called scores, and we've got some comments in there, so it's really helpful. There's scores, there's an empty list, open bracket, close bracket, using the squares, and then it's going to say to us ask for a number of scores. So we're saying how many scores does the person want, and enter number of scores. So loop num times, so you can see my intention was for me to use the num as my variable, and so there's a for loop which will loop that many times. Now we need to actually get the person's score. No, I'm just going to go back here and press enter, because that way I'm tabbed properly. Score is equal to int input enter score, and then add that to the scores. So here I'm going to append that scores dot append score. Print the length of the list, and here I'm just going to go print len scores. And then print the list. Now that should just say print the list. So that comment is wrong. And print scores. If I run that, enter the number of scores. Well, maybe I want to add 3 scores. I'm going to have 12, 44, 1, we can see there's 3 items there, so that is fine, and I'm going to submit that just in a second. Let's just have a look at the code. Okay, so here it said create an empty list. There's the empty list there. How many values are you going to put inside the list? There's the answer to that one there. And then we're going to loop that many times, and we're going to get the score each time and append that to the list called scores. So here you can see I've pluralized there. Scores is a list, score is the actual value that I got. Then I'm going to print out the length of the list and print out scores itself. So I'm going to submit that. Output mismatch. Now it's this EOF error, which tells me sometimes it's just REPL it. Run it again, and that works fine. And that's the last task there. Populating a list is a really common thing, so this is something you want to get used to. Okay, well done guys, I hope that helped. And that's the end of the lists tasks for the moment.